Call to order the Town of New Windsor Town Council meeting for February 1st, 2023. If everyone would rise and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We go by an agenda. Our meetings are recorded. Anyone wishing to have something on the agenda for council discussion should have had it to Town Hall by 3 o'clock the previous Monday before the Town Council meeting. Anyone wishing to speak tonight, we have a sign-up sheet over here by Councilman Holl. Approval of the January 4th, 2023, that should be 23 Town Council meeting. Do I hear a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion for approval of the minutes for the January meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so approved. This time, Lisa, would you like to introduce your guests?
Can we just stand here?
You stand there, that's fine.
Will this work? Yep. Hi, I'm Lisa Monthly. I'm the Senior Vice President, Regional Sales Manager for the Maryland region of NWSB Bank, which is officially, as of January 1st, ACMB Bank, as we go under their umbrella, even though we've been under their umbrella for 6 years when we merged in 2017. I'm here tonight to introduce Roxanne Magwire. Roxanne has been with the bank for 3 years. She may be familiar to some of you because she's been in the market for over 35 years as a banker, as the manager at the Mercantile and the PNC office in Union Bridge, which closed. Roxanne has been named Mike Libby's replacement, as Mike Libby was our previous manager here in New Windsor, and Mike retired in December. So we're always pleased to promote from within, and we're excited to have the local gal back here in her neck of the woods. So I just wanted to bring Roxanne in and a familiar face to the bank. And I'm also, if I could just take a minute and talk a little bit about our rebranding, because you're going to see some changes here in town. You're going to see our Polon sign out front change. The logo still stays the same, but instead of NWSB, it will say ACMB. It's the exact same. If you read the little tagline underneath, it says NWSB, a division of ACMB Bank now. You know, we have 9 branches here in Maryland. We have 5 in Carroll County, 4 in Frederick, as we merged and took over FCB Frederick County Bank. So it just really ties us all under one umbrella, strengthens the unity within employees and within the community, because now we have 26 branches that you can visit and they'll all be identifiable under the same logo. Nothing really changes for our customers or for our community. Account numbers don't change. Nothing changes except that logo and the name. And our colors turn from the money green to the blue as the corporate colors. You know, we are still excited and anticipate that we and plan to be part of the New Windsor community with Music on Main, Shred Days. So we are very much a business partner and we work very closely with the town. So no real changes. I don't know if Roxanne wanted to say a few words, but she's a local gal and like I said, we're thrilled. You're in good hands.
It's good to be back in this community. They had moved me to Finksburg and I got away from all my customers that I've known all these years. Now it's good to be back into the local community.
Nice you have on board. Welcome to New Windsor. And Roxanne and Lisa, if you would come up front here. This will be last year, I guess, that we'll have this on this. But the mayor and council recognizes NWSB Bank for their 90 years of service. And this is from last year, 2022.
32.
All right. You're more than welcome to stay for an exciting meeting. However, if you have other things to do, don't hesitate. So, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Mayor's report. Did you get my report? I shared it, but I don't know if you got it or not. Let's see here.
Agenda.
That's all right. A few highlights. Gary and I went to the State of the County meeting. Everybody was on a positive note, especially with 4 new county commissioners. Then Councilman Hoffman and I went to a delegation meeting at the county office building where the county commissioners talked about their funding requests, and then other agencies and other municipalities talked about their funding needs. And there was one that was for a bill with the professional firefighters union here in Carroll County and the new transition. That took quite a while discussion, but I got up and just tried to be as short and sweet as I could, and showed thanks to Gary and putting all our wish list together, and a couple things I took out that like the water line that's been funded. So, and then I'll also upcoming events, the Maryland Mayors Association later this month in Annapolis, where I get to meet with the delegation again, and hopefully we'll be able to meet with the governor and tell him some of our requests for funding, and that's pretty much my report. So it's still working the delegation to get us additional funding. Any questions? All right. Council committees, Community Enhancement, Councilwoman Gribbin-Lindemon.
Good evening. On January 13th, Councilwoman Schultz and I attended a meeting with the owners of Eclectic Motor Cars, and they are Brad Jenkinson and John Sewards. And Mr. Sewards took us on a tour of the whole facility down there and really showed us around, and they have a great business going on down there. And he shared with us their plans, what they're doing now, and their plans for the future. And you know, both of the owners are very community conscious and have a lot of ideas for things that they would like to help us implement here in New Windsor. And one of the things that they would like to do is Mr. Jenkinson, he is really, besides being an incredible wizard with the cars, he's a great artist. I've seen a lot of the pieces he's done since he's been younger and through the years, and he would like to help us restore the cannons. And I think that they talked a little bit about that when they came and visited us several months back. And the only holdup we have, he will do all the work for free. The only thing we'd have to pay for is the materials to refurbish these 2 cannons that we have. So I spoke with them today, and by our work session, I will have an estimate of what the materials will cost for that, so that we could perhaps put that in the budget for this coming year and maybe move forward on getting those cannons restored. So that's all I have.
All right.
Unless anybody
Thank you.
has any questions.
Any questions? All right. Public Works, Councilman Hoffman.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Some of the highlights for the month. The Public Works crew completed Christmas tree pickup on January 5th, 12th, and the 19th. They took advantage of some of the milder weather and cleaned the storm drains in Atlee Ridge and are about half completed in Blue Ridge Manor. They cut up the downed tree on Route 31 near the New Windsor welcome sign. You may have seen that tree fell and barely missed our new sign out there. They also took care of some downed trees at the Denning well site. They removed the Christmas wreaths from the poles, and while doing that, they also made note of the pole numbers and the meters that fed the circuits for each one of the wreaths. This information will be used to ensure the town has an accurate agreement with Potomac Edison. They also removed the other Christmas decorations around town. They picked up some supplies for the treatment plant and did some other miscellaneous work there. And I think that's all I wanted to share for the Public Works. The Planning Commission did meet in January. We provided comments to our county representative, Abigail Rogers, on the county's transportation master plan draft, Chapter 6, which is the planned roadway projects. There was a few discrepancies that we caught in some of the project costs and inclusion of some disbanded projects. We continued our review of the comprehensive master plan. We're making pretty good progress on that as well. Our next scheduled meeting is the 27th of February for that.
Dave, I got a quick question on that. I got an email from Mary Lane with Carroll County Planning about that as they're going through the master plan and planned roads and things like that, and there's a planned road on their books, basically cutting over right there where Church and 7-Eleven is, cutting over to Springdale, and it was originally part of the roundabout when that was in play. But it's still on there. So she was. Did you guys talk about that at all?
Yes, I did mention that to Abigail, that the whole roundabout project, that Springdale relocation project, was still on their list of projects. I believe it was like number 13. It was down the list away, but I can't tell you how many years ago that was already canceled.
Yeah.
Quite a while.
2018.
Do we want to? I guess the question to get back to her: do we want to keep it on there? Because her questions were: is it still planned? Is it developer driven? What's the plan for it? I mean, that's Springdale property, from my understanding, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see it being developed, but I don't know of any plans for development. But
Yeah, so we don't know of any plans for development, and I think there was a whole swap of land and everything whenever that was supposed to.
That was moving the road and everything.
Yeah,
right?
Well, it would be
Yeah.
one continuous piece of property for Springdale.
Right.
If they brought it down.
Right.
Which would be beneficial to them, that they could use the entire.
I was just curious. I'll respond to her and just let her know what I know. Okay.
Thanks, sir. Any
You're welcome.
questions? All right, water and sewer, Councilman Holl.
So I have a short report this week, this month. So the water main line replacement is still the top priority. We have an upcoming meeting for the residents to understand certain things about the project, just how it's going to happen, what delays to expect, all kind of information will be at that meeting. Is it still? Do we still have the dates?
Yeah,
Do we have-
February 23rd.
Okay, it's February 23rd at 7 p.m. And then the only other thing I have is on the 26th, Councilman Hoffman, myself, Gary, and Wayne all met with the county to go over some future water source planning. So we went over just different plans, different options for the town's future water sources for the next generation. So. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Any questions? Public safety, Councilman Cornick.
Yeah, good evening to everyone. So over the last few months, I've been talking to, well, we've had some citizens come in and talk about public street safety and, what we can do about the speeding and traffic. And every month I've been looking for information online about what other small communities similar to ours do in terms of controlling traffic. But we also had a discussion, I think, a couple months back about bikeways and walking paths around the community. So I happened to stumble across basically it was a webinar that was gosh, I'm looking for the word. But anyway, it was basically a case study on a small town in Ohio or Colorado. It's called Center, Colorado, and it's about 2,500 people in the town. Very similar in makeup to New Windsor. It was kind of interesting as I went through the webinar, and basically the case study did beginning to end discussion on the infrastructure, the non-infrastructure and infrastructure portions of this project to add signage, walkways, walking paths, bike paths, and the like for their town. And again, 2,500 is pretty much about double the size of New Windsor. But I found it interesting that some of the things that they, challenges they face, similar stuff like, finding funding for it. But the non-infrastructure projects that they were working on was safe streets for their kids to be able to walk and bike to school. So one of the approaches that they took was that this walking and biking would be a health element for the community, because they did some analysis on their student population, and they found out that I think 60% of their student population was overweight. And a part of it was because they don't walk or bike anywhere. So the interesting story was that how they actually put together this program, and they got funding for the non-infrastructure portion of it, meaning they didn't pay for roads. It's not for roads. It's actually for programs for crossing guards, bicycles, bike paths, and the like, so that their kids could utilize the walking paths and walk to school in a safe manner, and then biking through the community. So that was the first part of the project. The second part was the actual infrastructure portion, where they were adding stop signs and stoplights for truck traffic from local plants and farms around their area. So it was only about an hour-long webinar, but I found it to be pretty interesting and some similar things. One of the people, well, there was a presenter who was in Washington, D.C., who I think they do it on a monthly basis, the Safe Streets initiative. It's actually called Safe Pathways. But they were talking about there were several people on this webinar, and their town manager was there, the administrator for the schools, the coordinator that kind of was like a liaison between the community and the schools was on there. The person that was not on there was their director of public works, because he was fixing a water issue. So I thought that was pretty funny, because I was like, man, that sounds like us. Our director of public works is always kind of fixing some stuff with their infrastructure. But it sounds like they had some very similar challenges. It wasn't that long. It didn't get really in depth into solutions. Like they mentioned different sources for funding. It was, they mentioned federal grants, and then the National Center for Rural Roads and USDOT were resources that I'm going to look into to see if there's anything that could help. But basically, I don't necessarily report on the safety or reports, or the police reports, or sheriff's report and fire report, but I am continuing to look at things that we can potentially pick up in our efforts to, do our streetscapes project, and see if I can, gather information that could help us. So I thought it was interesting. It was well worth, good time spent.
What was the company out of DC?
The company is called
Safe.
I think it's called Safe Pathways. I got it right. Let's see. Safe Routes to Schools Partnership.
Yeah, I think they did some work for us.
I thought so.
Years ago. I think I have a book. What they recommended different types of calming and walking.
Yeah.
So let me see if I still have that book.
That'd be good. And they put out webinars, I think, once a month. So I'll just keep checking them every month, and then report on the ones that are closely related to what we're trying to do. So,
Right.
So that's what I got for the month.
Thank you. Any questions?
I just wanted to say something, Kevin, because I saw this the other day and I wanted to just mention it, because I know you're sort of keeping a list. And Deputy McGinnis probably is familiar with this. I never saw it do this before, but the crosswalk that's right in front of the county building on Center Street has a button that people can push that makes the light flash that somebody's in the crosswalk.
Yes. Yes.
And I thought that was, what a great idea. Now, I'm sure it's expensive, because I know we've looked at these things, but I would love to find out how much that would cost, because I'm assuming we're finally going to get a crosswalk at the intersection of Church and High when streetscape is done. And that might be helpful there. And the other one, that crosswalk in front of the fire hall, which I use every day, is awful. It's not the fire hall's fault, but it's a blind corner, and the trucks come roaring around that corner, and I've learned basically not to use the crosswalk, but to cross the road further down, because if you cross in the crosswalk, you're right in the middle of it, and there's a truck coming at you.
Right.
It was something that brought people's attention to the fact that there's people in the road, and the one down at 7-Eleven wouldn't be a bad place either. So that might be something we could even get a grant to pay for some of those, but.
No, I appreciate you bringing that up, because actually I was there for something, I can't remember what it was, a couple months ago, but I actually use that one, and
Yeah.
it works, and people actually abide by that,
Well, it
so,
startled me
yeah.
because all of a sudden this light was flashing,
Yes.
and I try not to, I never speed, Deputy McGinnis, but I really try not to speed on roads that are, I mean, I might speed on the 70, I know on TV, but, but on city and town roads, I try to really, because I know there's always people walking. So, I just would love to know how much that cost, and if we could get maybe one or two of them eventually.
One other thing I will mention, there was a couple months back, Chief Coe was talking about that corner on where 31 meets 75. And I had this experience. I was turning off of 31 on the 75, and just as you get past, when you get past that first street, I'm drawing a blank. College.
Yeah.
There, you lose that sidewalk. You don't have any sidewalk, and in the spring, the branches and the leaves or trees grow over the street, and kids actually walk on it. And I know for a fact because I was driving that way towards Key, and it was kind of raining, and there was a kid that was walking on there, and I don't know if he was walking to get to where the bus stops, but I never see the bus in the morning, but I know a bus stops there because it goes to Northwest Middle. But that can be a little bit of a treacherous, pathway right there if people are using that as a walkway right out of college and then making that quick right. So that's kind of what, got me thinking about these, safe walkways. Maybe who knows if we ever get that middle school back, but I think I think we do a great job, by the way, with our pathways. There are a lot of pathways around the new developments and everything, but I think there's certainly a lot of work that we can do with the existing sidewalks and things like that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and looking for opportunities to hopefully find some way that we can kind of make it a bigger project and kind of make it safe for everybody to walk around. So,
Kevin, check the chat. There's a resident that has some information on Thurmont and
Okay.
some walking paths that they were successful in getting grants from.
awesome.
And a different company to look into.
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
And I know this is not the same as Salt Lake City, but I went out there for a convention years ago, and at all the crosswalks, they have a holder for flags, and you go across, and out there, the traffic, I mean, they come to a stop anytime anyone is in that walkway. I mean, it's a mindset thing, and it's probably been done for years, but the pedestrian actually really controls the street sometimes out there. Now, I know it's a whole different scenario than here, but, it's a cheap way, but might not work, but,
That's rather interesting.
yeah.
They have that in Bethesda.
Do they?
Really?
Yeah.
Saw it today.
You walk a flag across?
Yeah. And then you
Right there on the telephone pole, they've got a basket with them sitting in there. You pick them up and you hold the flag up, and usually, you have a couple people holding them up. And
Wow.
stop.
Yeah.
Traffic
Sure,
stop.
get your attention.
he stops and you speed. Okay.
Not in town.
Okay.
Let's not get us going on that. I have no sympathy for
Thank
him
you,
if
Kevin.
Deputy
Yeah.
McGinnis stops. him.
Economic Development, Councilwoman Red Flag Schultz.
Yeah. So, as Councilwoman Gribbin-Lindemon mentioned, we met with Eclectic Motors, and I have more stuff in my report, but I'm just gonna go over the couple of highlights of the conversation, besides seeing who knew a car could cost $1 million, $1 million cars. Lovely men, very nice. They had nothing but positive things to say about all the staff at Town Hall and how helpful everybody was. And of course, they enjoyed working with Deputy Calusi, and have you met them, Deputy McGinnis? Yeah, so they're looking forward to meeting you. So very, very positive, and they had a lot of ideas, and Sharon and I wrote them all down, and I think I'll bring most of them up at a work session, so we'll put that on the agenda for later this month. But just a couple of things that they mentioned. They did mention a meeting quarterly, which we're gonna work on. But a couple of things I never heard of before, which I think is great, is for the town to think about just highlighting a business in every newsletter. So getting a little bit of information and just writing a blurb and letting people know that the business is here and what they do. So I'll work with Kalina to make that happen for the next newsletter. And they also suggested maybe having a little map someplace that showed where all the businesses in town were located. So we could think about doing that too. But they had a lot of ideas, so it was an enjoyable and productive meeting. Just a couple of other quick things. I got an email from a company called GoGov, which does citizen notifications, and I just asked Town Manager Dye and Clerk Mangus if they had received it, and they said no, but Dana, because she's always volunteering to do things for me, which I appreciate, volunteered to follow up, and she actually has like a virtual meeting with them next week, is that correct? So we'll see how much it costs. Town Manager Dye mentioned this would be something that would be useful, period, but especially since we're gonna be having this major road project going on. So I think we'll probably see if we can find a couple of other companies. So if anybody knows of any other.
The county has something
The
too.
county has a.
Yeah, and I know that whatever Lehigh uses too. So we'll get some prices and see if it's something we can afford. And then the Carroll County Downtowns group met. I was in Aruba, so I missed the meeting. But they're continuing to work on the video. And then just a reminder that HSP has money for water bills if folks need it, or any utility bill. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, town manager's report.
Okay, a couple things. The town and GMB, our engineers submitted an application to the Maryland Water Infrastructure Financing Administration, specifically for drinking water projects for Roops Meadow Spring yesterday, just before the deadline. That was one of the projects that we met with the county and discussed as a future water source. And the project proposes to restore Roops Meadow Spring water source through construction of a new water treatment facility. And the total funding that they had to put in for the request was $2,376,000, and that amount is based on the engineer's estimate and includes planning, design, construction, management, construction, contingency, and administrative costs. The project is being proposed in order to provide system-wide redundancy for our town drinking water supply. We currently receive approximately 80% of our average daily water from the Dennings and the main spring well, or the main spring source, and the reintroduction of Roops Meadow water supply would reduce our reliance on these sources and their associated aging infrastructure, and provide system-wide redundancy for peak demand. Roops Meadow Spring has been offline for approximately 20 years due to it was being designated as groundwater under direct influence source by MDE, and that's, you might hear the terminology GWIDI is what that stands for. It's groundwater under direct influence source, and that was designated by MDE 20 years ago, which is why it came offline. So any of the treatment that we'll look into if we get into this facility will be obviously to mitigate those concerns that are and any other current treatment sources and abilities we'll look at. So just want to let you know about that. Councilman Holl mentioned, and just a reminder, the public meeting for the Maryland 31 Water Main Improvement Project is Thursday, February 23rd, 7 p.m., New Windsor Fire Department. The press release and public information notice, I have it in there. It's been revised a couple times and approved by Mayor Roop, and Kalina will be mailing to the properties located on Maryland 31 and properties most directly impacted by the project. We created a spreadsheet of all the properties, and then there's other properties that aren't directly impacted per se, but are in close proximity to the intersections.
Uncle Mattie's is one of them.
Yeah, and there's a couple that come into play. One on the corner of Blue Ridge actually is, the side yard's on the state highway, but his address is Blue Ridge. So we'll be getting those out probably by the end of the week. We're also going to be I'm working on the actual property access agreements for the direct homeowners along the route, and I hope to have all them done and ready for the public information meeting, and hopefully everybody or the majority of the folks will show up for that, and we can hand those out at that time. So then lastly, I received a request from Logan Middleton. He's a Boy Scout with Troop 393 in Westminster, and Logan is looking for leadership opportunities to fulfill his Eagle Project requirements. And Logan reached out to Jonathan Bowman with Carroll County Bureau of Resource Management, and John put Logan in contact with me. And the town farm at Bowersox Road has a 2.2 acres of tree plantings that were done in 2015, and the planting area is in need of tree shelter removal. Tree shelters are the plastic protections that they put them on when they're small. So shelter removal, maintenance, and then also invasive species removal. So this could be a possible project for Logan, but we have to consider liability and safety. I mentioned it briefly to Director Myers, and that was the first thing that came to his mind is the liability issue. So that's something I can check into Michelle with. But I wanted to see what thoughts, concerns, questions from the council, and any other possible projects that you might think of or whatever. Wanted to mention.
I mean, being a volunteer, I think he would be covered, but maybe check with Legit. They would be the ones that.
What are the safety concerns in that area?
Just it's groundhog holes, sinkholes, just tree limbs, things like that. Just things that are naturally occurring out there. That I don't know how old he is, but I would imagine he's 10, 12, 14, somewhere in that range.
Probably 16 to 18.
Yeah.
And
For Eagle
Says the
Eagle
former
project,
Eagle Scout.
he's up there.
Okay. So
And usually the people that are going to be helping them are around the same age too.
yeah, I don't know the details, but I responded to him just to let him know that I got the email and that we were meeting tonight. I'd be mentioning it, and if we get approval to do so, I'll be in touch. And John Bowman, who I know from the county, would meet out there together and with Director Myers and go over what's going on and that kind of thing. So
All right.
we'll see where it goes. I'll check with Michelle and with Legit about insurance.
Gary, is the town responsible for those tree shelter
Yes.
removals?
Yeah, that's a tree planting, specifically designated tree planting area. The county maintains it for the first, I think, 3 years, and then the county's responsible. Now, we have, Condon is now farming that, leasing that, and as part of that agreement, he's mowing in between there and stuff like that. So it is, Public Works is not technically taking care of it, but the town is responsible. But right now, Condon's kind of picking that up for us while he's out there farming. So just want to let you know about that. That's all I have for my
Thank you.
report.
Any questions? Public Works Director?
I don't think is he on? Don't think I saw
No?
him.
All right.
And he's just getting back to work today, so.
All right. Everybody's talked about Public Works, and let's begin with Community Deputy. Kevin?
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
A little busier month this past month, between the dates of January 1st, 2023 to January 31st, 2023. The Sheriff's Office responded to 57 calls for service within town limits. Out of those calls for service, 7 calls for service required reports, which were the following. On 1/8/2023, at 17:59 hours, an overdose occurred in the 300 block of Hillside Drive. Naloxone was used by a witness prior to EMS arrival, and the subject refused medical treatment. On 1/15/2023, at 13:47 hours, a theft occurred in the 2800 block of Main Street. A counterfeit bill was used to purchase items. In this case, the suspended no further leads. On 1/16/2023, At 13:36 hours, a tobacco violation occurred in the 2800 block of Main Street. A civil citation was issued and this case was closed. On 1/24/2023 at 15:01 hours, a burglary was reported at a private residence in the 2600 block of Old New Windsor Pike. Entry was gained to the residence by forcibly kicking in the back door. Approximately $20,000 in jewelry and personal belongings were stolen from the residence. Case open for further investigation. And on 1/24/2023 at 22:38 hours, a fraud was reported in the 1200 block of Joe Afterplace. The victim sent approximately $5,000 through Cash App, which was never received by the intended recipient. Case open for further investigation. On 1/30/2023 at 14:23 hours, a late reported trespass was reported in the 100 block of Main Street. A bar customer was observed on the property on 1/29/23 and asked to leave. Case is open pending charges. On 1/31/2023 at 11:01 hours, a burglary was reported at a private residence on the 200 block of Main Street. Entry was gained to the residence by forcibly prying the door open with a tool. Safe containing collector coins was stolen with an approximate value of $2,000 overall. Case open for further investigation. So it's been a pretty busy month as far as crime goes. So we've been keeping an eye on a group from Frederick County. I don't know if you guys follow social media, but there's a group from Frederick County that's been breaking into places. I don't believe that these crimes in town are related to those incidents, but we're keeping an eye on things and trying to bite it off at the source here. So yeah, other than that,
All right.
went around with HSP this past week and got to spend a little bit of time with their commissioner for the district. So that was a very, very nice, eventful time. Homeless outreach in the county. If there's anything that you guys see as far as the homeless population or anyone that needs anything, please let me know, and we'll try to get the right resources out to them. So that's all I have, really.
All right. Thank you.
Guys.
All right. West Carroll, nothing?
Well, actually, I did attend their meeting last month. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about at the meeting. It's actually kind of sad because, again, they're still looking for volunteers, and that was just confirmation that those volunteers are still needed because the meeting was not well attended. And Sandy's still there, as I mentioned before, and I think Sandy's received at least 2 acknowledgments or recognition of her efforts with, of her volunteerism with the Rec Council. But, I mean, just like everywhere else, volunteerism is down, and that happens at the Rec Council as well. So there are some good people that are still working, with it, and Penny and Brad are still, kind of involved. So, not a whole lot going on, though. So.
All right. Well, I put in the newsletter, about volunteers.
Yep.
Fire Department, Lions Club, Heritage Committee, Rec Council, so there's plenty of opportunities if you want to get involved in your community. Rather than sit back and complain, unfortunately. So, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Fire Chief Kramer?
Yep, so I thought I'd attend the meeting tonight, introduce myself for people that don't know me. I don't know if you've seen my face around, but I've lived in New Windsor all my life. Used to get out of Rook store and buy my penny candy. Been around that long. I live right outside of town, so I took over as chief this year. Over the fire department, I've been a riding member of the fire department for 37 years. It's the first time I've actually held the position as chief. I've held administrative offices, line offices, and things like that. But very involved in the fire department, the community, and things like that. So if you see me, now you can put a position with a face. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. I have an email at the fire department. It's chief@nwfp10.org. So if you need to send me an email or get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me that way. It's probably the easiest way. It comes on my phone, so if it's super sensitive, I'll get back to you. I don't have a report as detailed as the deputies, but I will tell you some fire stats this month. Fire stats, fire and rescue calls was 18, so it's kind of down this month, and a lot of that's due to the weather. The colder it gets, the more we run that way. But the EMS calls are still at a pretty high pace. We had 84 calls for EMS. And the one message I did want to get out to the community as far as the EMS portion of it, the hospitals continue to be busy, the staffing continues to be an issue, so if we can just communicate to anyone that thinks they need to call 911, if you do have a primary care physician, or if you go to like an urgent care for some non-emergent needs, it would take a little strain off the EMS system over here, wait times at the hospital and things like that. So kind of use some discretion. If you do need an ambulance, by all means call 911, we'll come help you. But we have the same issues as everybody else. We have some part-timers over there. We have a hard time staffing the positions all the time, so the volunteers step up. Even though I'm the fire chief, a lot of people think that's my job. I have 3 other jobs beside that. So that's a full-time job in itself. It's like everybody else. Everybody over there has at least a full-time job, and it's a full-time job being a part of that. It's a good job, but just remember that when you call for service or request something out of the fire department. We want to help, but we're just like everybody else. We are going to participate in the water main project. The initial meeting, my nephew, who's the assistant chief over there, will attend that meeting because that is one of my regular work days. I work a swing shift type of schedule, so I'm not available all the time. So if you have any questions about the fire department, please visit our website. We have all kinds of stuff on there about community events, memberships, rental opportunities, and just what goes on in the fire department. We actually have had a pretty good influx of some younger members that have been taking classes recently, which kind of gives us a little boost, and we're hoping that to keep them around. So we try to post stuff on the website to give them a little recognition and get them involved, so we can get a couple of years out of them. That's probably better than we had been doing. So it's mostly us older guys that came up from the time we were old enough to run up to the firehouse to we're still active. So that's just a brief thing from me. That's about it. So I won't make every meeting, but I'll try to make the meetings that I'm not working, or we'll try to have a representative here from the fire department so we can kind of keep in touch with what's going on.
Just to tag along on that, Chief, New Windsor hit the 1,000 mark on ambulance calls last year.
Correct.
So you're looking at almost 3 a day.
Yes.
That's a lot of stress. And I mean, New Windsor goes pretty much all over the county for ambulance calls now. It used to be Westminster, once in a while, Union Bridge, maybe every now and then Tawnytown, but they're in Tawnytown and Westminster probably as much as they're in the New Windsor area.
Yeah, you get a lot of surges during the day where they'll just put out 10 or 12 calls at a time, and it just sucks up all the resources in the area. And we're pretty fortunate that we have the Coe brothers, and they're both paramedics, and they'll run the utility because we have extra ALS equipment over there. We're pretty fortunate as far as that goes, and they'll take that to support other communities so we can leave the ambulance here in town for an emergency, or if our ambulance is out, at least we have a first responder, a paramedic first responder with advanced life care that we can start until we get a transport unit. So the citizens of New Windsor, we're still pretty fortunate to have the volunteer base that we do, even though it's stretched thin, and the resources. We try to, we have a good facility over there. We try to keep the latest equipment. We have a lot of knowledgeable people that try to stay up on top of all the latest things that come out so we can get the best care to the citizens of New Windsor. So.
And 2 other things. Carnival is May 23rd through the 27th.
Yes.
Parade the 24th? Or is that?
As far as I know, they're having a parade. I don't know that I heard a date on it yet.
Okay. And the route may be a little different.
Yes, the route I heard was going to be a modified route. It's not going to be it's not going to take up the whole town like it used to.
You need a couple of us for that, or?
Sure. We'll let you know. I can get you in contact with Carroll. So they're still working out the details. Very good.
And the fire company could not have the carnival if it wasn't for the community to help volunteer, especially in the food stands. So if you're not doing anything, Tuesday through Saturday, an hour or 2 would be greatly appreciated by the fire company. So you're covered by insurance. It's a good way to get, no, I mean, a lot of people worry about, because if you're in the kitchen, you might come across hot food or something, so you are covered by insurance through the fire department. And, it's a great way to meet some of our local people and feel good about yourself coming out and help.
There was a lot of people in the community that were upset when we went away from the traditional carnival, and there was a big discussion about would we ever have it, because it puts a real strain on the people that have to work it. We still have to respond to the calls and work the job, work the carnival, so a lot of them wanted to bring it back, so we're going to try and see, but, just the profits from the carnival over the last few years we had it were going down because the costs go up just like everything else. So we're going to try and run it again, so we can only do it with the support of the community. If they're willing to support us and help us and do it, we'd like to have it. Everybody likes to get together, but we're not going to have it just to have it. So we want to make sure it's a good thing for the community, it's profitable for us, so we continue to buy the stuff we need.
Thank you, Chief. Treasurer's report.
All right, working on the budget with Gary, which we'll talk about in new business. But I would like to bring to the council's attention that as of March 21st, a CD that we have at Farmers and Merchants Bank will be matured. So I will have some options for us. It's a little early right now. I know a banker that would gladly help us. Got her number on speed dial half the time. So I'll get with them. Right now, the total investment is just under $207,000, so we'll have some options for that.
What was the term of that last one,
It was 15 months at 0.2%.
22.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. Not much. I'll talk to Lisa. She already has a couple ideas.
I would hope.
Yeah.
All right.
I also shop.
She could beat it.
I bet you know what she can tell me who did it. I'll also shop around. I do hear Woodsboro has some good. Woodsboro Bank has some good rates. So we'll just see what's happening in the next month.
Good job. Thank you. Water and sewer billing clerk.
I think Kalina is on.
She was, yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Kalina.
Hey.
All right, so only thing I have is I will be applying late fees to water sewer payments next week. And that's all I got. It's been pretty quiet.
Thank you.
I have nothing significant to report, and I hope that's a good thing.
Nothing on Lehigh. New business, appointment, reappointment of BZA members. I've talked to two of the current members, Dale Lohman and Marcel Munshire, and they are willing to re-up another term. And Roy Stevens, who lives at Springdale Village and is in the New Windsor Lions Club, and he's willing to serve on that. So if I could hear a motion or a discussion of any of those three. I can't remember the last time they met. I guess it was probably Huber's sign, maybe. That might have been. I can't remember.
I don't think they've met since I've been here. So.
What's that?
I don't think they've met since I've
So-
been, not to my knowledge. But.
So they don't. Thank goodness they don't meet very often, but they're willing to serve on it. So if I could hear a motion to approve those three individuals, I'd greatly appreciate it.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 individuals for the committee.
Excuse
me, Lord.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Dale Lohman, Marcel Munshire, and Roy Stevens to the BZA. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Fiscal year 24 general budget discussion.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay, so this is the first of will be several FY24 budget discussions. It's a little early for a draft spreadsheet yet, but following is a list of what we've started or have done so far. We worked on the employee pay rates and health and retirement rates. I put a placeholder in for 2 new possible positions, but again, it's too early in the process to know if the numbers are going to work out. Positions are part-time receptionist and move Kalina to an admin position for Wayne and myself in the office. And then the other one is another Public Works position, similar to Tyler's position, to kind of start to tier that side of the water and sewer things. But more to come on that. The health insurance includes a 10% increase, and that is based on the direction from our current provider. So we, and when I say we, I mean Dana, is checking into other providers for possible cost savings. So we've got a lot of information we're reading through and cross-referencing and looking into with that.
And check with, I mentioned to you before, check with MML on the one company that I think Westminster has their health insurance through.
So they use Legit?
No.
I thought Legit said they did, but what I hear Westminster uses is, to break it down in layman's terms, is they put money in a pot and anybody who has it takes it from that pot. It works when you have a lot of younger guys, not so much when you're small and it is kind of evened out. So we have looked into those options though. But
Because I think Westminster gets a nice check back every year.
yeah, and there's different ways of doing it too. We're looking into an HSA and an HRA. With an HRA, we could get a check back at the end of the year. So we'll going over that on Friday.
Okay, Dana has input the FY23 year-to-date numbers, and we'll be updating those numbers once or twice more during the budget process. Dana and I have met 3 times so far. We're meeting again Friday, and then Wayne and I are meeting tomorrow for our first meeting to start looking at the Public Works side of the budget. Reached out to the vendors for price increases. Received an input, MES, Maryland Environmental Service budget numbers. They run our water and sewer plant. And the water, they've provided those. The water is $99,401, which is an increase of $5,523 or 5.9%. And the sewer, which is the more expensive side of things, is $143,654, which is an increase of $18,773 or 15%. So their total budget for water and sewer for fiscal year 24 is $243,055. And then about 50 to 60% of the general fund numbers are in so far as we meet and are putting those in and checking into things. A couple highlights just under general fund and enterprise fund. The highway user revenue for 24 has increased and is estimated at $102,784 as of January 12th. So that's the first time in my tenure that it's been 6 figures. So that's a good thing. The real property revenue is expected to increase due to the number of new homes in Snyder Summit, and we get that number off of a constant yield tax statement, which we were waiting on usually mid-February, so it should be another probably about 2 weeks before we get that. At the direction of our auditors, ZA, we're looking to add a part-time accounting consultant to clean up old accounting data and files and to reduce the journal entries that ZA has to do each year. So we're looking for an accountant for 1 or 2 months, for a year or two, and then if once things get up to speed or whatever and checked, then it would be something we do every couple of years. So if anyone knows of any accounting services or businesses that could provide that, that we can reach out and contact about getting some prices, let me or Dana know. Enterprise fund highlights. Been talking about this for a while. Big loss in revenue from the water and sewer hookup fees for fiscal year 24. With only 11 lots remaining in Snyder Summit to be built on, we are planning a total build out by the July 1st start of fiscal year 24. So there will be no new homes budgeted in fiscal year 24. The revenue budget line item for the water sewer hookup fees is 0 for this fiscal year we're budgeting. Last year we budgeted for 12 new lots according to Snyder Summit PWA, and so just to give you an idea, that is a loss of revenue of over $216,000. So we knew it was coming. It's here. So we got that to try to compensate for or overcome. And then we're waiting on results of the water and sewer rate study to be able to calculate the water and sewer usage revenues. So Jean Holloway is with SERCAP. She's doing the study. Her schedule's been crazy and booked and continues to be so in February and March. She's got all the numbers crunched and in, and she just has to put the report together. And then present that to you all, to the mayor and council. So the plan at this time is for Jean to attend the March 1st council meeting virtually, because she has to be in DC for that, and present the rate study to you, and then possibly have a special work session meeting with Jean, which Jean will attend in person the week after, either like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. That would be March 6th, 7th, or 8th. So I'm not sure what your thoughts or availability on that are, but yeah.
Is that also, if she could attend, would it be too soon to attend virtually the February work session?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I already asked that question because she's got another commitment, and even if she could get it, she has another commitment for that date. I did ask that question. So I'm pushing to get it in here and get it approved, because until we get that schedule adopted, I can't calculate. It's a matter of putting in the numbers. It's in a spreadsheet. We just need to adopt it. So
We should pick a date now, because that'll come up fast.
6th or 7th is good with me. Wednesday is Lions Club.
you guys want to let me know, or you want to let me know now, or?
What's everybody else think?
I think I'm probably in good, but I have to check my calendar at home.
Well, maybe we can decide that by email.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to get that on our calendars.
Yeah, definitely
So let's
wanna do that.
send out an email saying Monday the 6th or Tuesday the 7th, and
Okay.
everybody can.
Sometime 7?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, we gotta get that in, so basically, in summary, we're making progress with the budget, but maybe a little behind schedule at this point compared to previous years, but it's really, we're doing what we can with what we got, and then, once we get those rates, that rate information in, then we can go from there. So that's that.
And if anybody thinks of anything that they would like under their committee, or anything in general, you need to let Gary know as soon as possible.
You had mentioned about getting those costs for the paint and stuff.
Right, the cannons, yes.
Yeah, let me know what that is, and we can get that in, and said anybody else has anything, get with me, email me, come in, whatever, give me a call, whatever. We'll get it in there and see how everything shakes out.
All right, thank you. Any other new business? Old business, rental housing application, final review and approval.
Okay, hang on with me 1 second here. So we got it up on the screen there, yeah. So this is, this version reflects all the comments from the January 17th work session, and the highlighted area there, we added after the July 31st, the fee is $100 per unit per month. We had a little bit of aggressive fee or fine situation there. And then we added, if the fees are not paid, the property will be considered in violation of Town Code, Chapter 144, cannot be legally rented. I don't think there were any other changes from.
We had already put in that last one, I think, hadn't we? Owner certification, that everything was true and accurate
Yeah,
and
we
true.
did that the time before, I think. Yeah.
Yep, so.
Good to go?
I think we're good to go on that unless somebody has any more comments on that. Okay?
Do I hear a motion for approval?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion second for approval. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried.
All right, thank
Good?
you. Yep.
All right.
Thank you. Bear with me 1 second.
Board of Zoning Appeals updated fees, Resolution 02-01-23.
Okay, kind of the same drill. It's, reflects the comments from the January 17th work session. Michelle has prepared the resolution, and basically it's just updating old fees from many years ago. In actuality, with the adjustments of certain things and putting in more minimum times, and then having the applicant responsible for additional, for example, attorney fees or advertising fees, it ends up being about $111 increase, which, considering how old those numbers were, is not really too bad. So,
Did we, without looking at this, we didn't put in an annual increase, or did we?
for the BZA,
Yeah.
yeah, it's in there.
Okay.
30. They're currently, I think, only $15 a meeting per each.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, annual increase
Like an automatic.
or actual, when it based on actual?
It was actual cost, yeah.
Yeah, actual cost.
No, so what he's saying is like in here it shows like a 2-hour minimum, $510 for the town attorney. We also discussed about putting like that these, I guess, a verbiage of saying that these numbers are subject to change based on actual cost.
Okay.
So that we don't have to do this every year.
Right.
That's easy enough. We can just add that note.
Yeah, with
Is
that
Michelle
change.
still on? Michelle, did you hear that?
I did, and you would put that where, right there on the line where it says 2-hour minimum?
I mean, it's for everything.
We're looking at everything.
You wanted to do like an automatic 2% or something every year?
No, just for that, or actual costs,
Reflects actual.
so that we don't have to say, whatever, we can change the fees, but that it would just be based on actual costs,
Okay.
annual.
So I think that you this tonight with the understanding that that language will be included.
Okay.
Or be included, or
Okay.
we can wait, but I know for a fact we've got an application coming soon for the review of the variance for the signs out there at Hoover's, so we kind of want to get this done.
All right, I imagine Councilman Hoffman's going to say that in his motion.
Okay. See, I can't see who's moving things, but yeah, we can.
Did you want to? All right.
Yeah.
So
I make
do
a
I hear a
motion-
motion for adoption of resolution 201-23?
I will make that contingency that additional guidance will follow on the cost.
Do I hear a second? Do I hear, we have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 02-01-23 with the added verbiage upcoming. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Leaf machine, continued discussion.
Well, I'm the one that asked for that to be put on again, just because I feel like we have been talking about it for a long time, but we have not really gotten any prices or final, thoughts on what we want to do. And if we want to add anything onto the new truck that's been purchased, I think that we're gonna have to make that decision pretty quickly if it's going to be added onto there. Because the truck has already been ordered, I believe. And if we're going to be purchasing another leaf machine, then it's going to take a while for it to get here too, based on the supply shortages and all that sort of thing. So I just feel like if we're going to do something about it, we need to do it sooner than later, bring it to some closure. And I think part of the problem has been that none of us really know what it is that we exactly need. And Wayne is kind of our guy that knows that, and he's had a lot of different things on his plate. So maybe we could put it off till the work session, and maybe he'll have a chance to maybe take a look at that situation a little bit between now and then, and give us some guidance on what we need to do with that.
So our last guidance to him was to
Yeah.
look into that hook machine
thing, yeah.
system.
Right, so I think we need to know prices on that and stuff, and whether we actually want to do that so we can make a motion and get it going, because the truck's already been ordered, am I right?
Trucks that we
Yeah.
have,
Delivered.
we have.
Oh, you already have it, so,
Not the chassis part, not the dump part or any of the.
okay,
That's a separate vendor, basically, with the dump part and the salt spreader and whatever other add-ons we're gonna do.
We
right.
have it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
They picked it up a while ago.
Where is it?
Down at the wastewater plant.
Oh, okay.
It's a beast. I
Yeah,
drove it.
nice.
So we
Can't really
we
use
gave
it,
that
so-
guidance to Wayne
Yeah.
at the work session on the 17th.
Yes.
So 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the general consensus, from what I recall, was that we're not looking specifically for a street sweeper unit, separate street sweeper unit. We're looking for more of a.
Attachment.
Yeah, attachments and using the truck as more a multifunctional facility, or capacity, I should say. So.
Is he I know he was talking about selling the leaf machine, putting it up for auction or something.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't believe that's happened at this point, but like Dave said, it's only been a couple of weeks since we did that. But yeah, we can, I can check with him and see what we can find out between now and, I'm not sure how quickly he's getting prices these days and how things are going, but.
At least we can get, I would think by the work session, we could at least get like what all, because I know there was some discussion of what can the hook system
Right.
do, so at least we could see 10
Capability.
functions or something.
I think we gave him a pretty broad scope of what he could do. I think we increased the dollar amount for that too, so that maybe not what we're going to commit to spending, but at least not limit himself in what he could do.
All right. Any other old business? Michelle, you still with us?
Yes, sir.
At the work session, I mentioned about an agreement with the Gertie property. Have you been able to work on that?
No.
Okay.
Oh, for the mural.
Yes.
For the mural. No, I apologize to you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a strange week here.
That's
So,
all right.
I
just-
haven't.
Just
But
want
I-
to keep it on the
No.
front burner.
No, it's always good to nag me.
No, well, we just have, Frank Badovic is spearheading this, through the, Arts Council and
Uh-huh.
trying to get some funding through them. So, and he's getting like a team together. Have him ask me and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot. So, which I
So
did,
you believe me, but I won't forget again.
which I did forget, but for about a month. So, that one's on me, but just, you know, they already agreed to it. They just want something in writing and we need something in writing too, so.
Yeah, who's gonna do it?
Right.
What, is it possible that I could contact Mr. Badovic and
Sure.
find out what, where they are instead of trying to remake the wheel?
Sure.
If they've already talked about it?
Yep.
Maybe you could send me contact information for him, because, I don't have it.
Consider it done.
Okay, thanks, sir.
All right, thank you. Any other old business? Residents' concerns? Sir, you have anything? All right, announcements. You heard about the carnival, bingo every Tuesday night. Go out and support them. February 3rd, Thursday, February 3rd, 7 o'clock at Windsor Station, informational meeting. One of the biggest meetings we've had in a long while since water and sewer rates went up. So hopefully everybody that is affected, and even though they're not on Main Street, everybody is welcome, because it will affect other residents with traffic patterns and different things. So, and also, Chief, I mentioned to you at the board meeting, I think, that We want you represented, the fire department represented, in most of our major capital projects that involve the fire department.
One of us.
You're right, so.
We'll try to have a representative there, and then we'll just keep track of what's going on, yes.
Rather than we have a meeting and, oh, shoot, we should have had you guys there. So we want you there from now on, so going forward. All right? Anybody have anything else?
I do have a request. I went on Zoom to see if I could get that information about the traffic signage.
I got it for you.
You did? Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion.
Wow.
Come on, that was pretty slow.
All right, let's see how long this one takes. Do I hear a second?
Nah, second.
We have a motion and second. You all take time, I'm gonna take my time. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so carried. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Good.
Recording